And we're back after 2 months' time, 2 months and 1 day to be precise. Our last episode was recorded on July 11th, 2023. It was our tribute episode to my old buddy Mike Britt, who passed away sadly very young at the age of 53. And then his dad passed away 10 days later. His dad had been in some sort of bad state with Alzheimer's for a long time, so nobody saw Mike going before his dad. And in the time that's flowed since then, I've thought about him quite a lot, and I actually kind of wrote a song about him, which I'll probably share in the next podcast. I want to have at least a decent work tape of it. It's actually called Down at Loafers. Not that he ever frequented Loafers, but as is always the case, real life inspires my songs, but it's not like a one-to-one comparison. There's fictional elements as well. But Mike, back in the day, in my humble opinion, got off track first by dating a much older girl who sort of, turned him on to the ways of the world, if you know what I'm saying. And her name was Candy. And there is a prominent, famous waitress at Loafers named Candy who really reformed that place's service level at one point. And everybody was just like, wow, Candy is the business. She can really run the floor here. And so kind of as a tribute to her, and of course Mike, I've sort of woven this fictional tale where Mike, it becomes a character called Old Mike, and Candy is an amalgamation of the actual Candy from Loafers that used to work at Loafers and the Candy from way back in the past. But that I do that sometimes, and it works out, from a songwriting perspective. There's lots of news to share. A lot of things have gone down in the 2 months that have ensued. We just got back from a pretty intense vacation, I'll say, at Charleston. We went and did one of those timeshare deals where they give you so much in Hilton honors points, and we stayed at a Hilton Garden Inn in Mount Pleasant, just across the bridge from Charleston, and went into Charleston for our little presentation. The presentation itself, not bad. I was actually kind of looking at that to be a lot more of a pain in the butt, but they know people are there. They're basically bribing you to listen to their pitch. The pitch doesn't make sense for people like us, I will say that, price-wise, but, if a person really were intent on traveling all over the world and having a place to stay maybe a little cheaper, I don't know, maybe it would make sense, but they were talking crazy numbers, and we were just like, nope, thank you, thanks so much for the free stay. And we stayed 4 days at a Hilton Garden Inn. Now, excuse me, you can hear my voice is a little raspy. Part of that is probably the chlorine in the pool water, the air, constant air freshener blown into the system there at the restaurant, and then just, Delilah's in pre-K. I'll get over one cold and she'll bring me another one. So thank you very much, dear. But it was great having her. We didn't expect to have her. We are now basically caring for her about 6 days a week, every week, and that's a lot on me because while it's very easy for me to put my mind back to those child rearing days where, it's not a big deal to me. I get it. And if I just had a little more support from Nancy with regards to, hey, can you watch her for 15 minutes while I go do this one little thing? She's not able to do that. She just has to, all her concentration is kind of on the store. As she loves to say, I work 80 hours a week. I don't think it's technically 80 hours. This is something she loves to say. But she legitimately works 12 hours a day. At least, I would say at least 4 days a week she works 12 hours a day, and she probably works 8 hours a day the other 2 days, and then just 1 day off. That's tough on anybody. So I respect it, and I try to accept that this is my lot, basically, to just step up and take care of Delilah, because she doesn't have a father figure. I'm that guy. So anybody that spanks her, that's going to be me. Anybody that corrects her, that's going to be me. And you know what? I am here for it. I am here for it. That's why things are the way they are. So it's all good. But she's been an amazing kid, as always. We're starting her Spanish lessons this week. She is in pre-K. Still have her in gymnastics, which has been amazing for her, and I can totally see that. We were at a swimming pool, at the Hilton Garden Inn, and I'm going to guess this girl's like 9, 10, 11, something like that. And she's in the pool, and Delilah immediately, when she sees another kid, especially girls, she just goes right to them. So she goes over there and starts telling that girl, hey, let's play this, let's play that. And they think it's really funny how forward she is, and just, basically just trying to essentially, she's not a sidekick. Let me put it. I'm not saying she's a bully, but she's definitely not a sidekick, and she lets you know what her thoughts are immediately. And she talks so good right now. Listen, I could blather on about her for forever. I don't know what the listening of that's going to be like, but anywho, so we get back to Albemarle, and actually, let me jump back the week before we went. We left on Wednesday of last week, and we got back Saturday evening. And what we did down there was basically visit restaurants, and we visited one public access place where you walk out on some piers. We did not find a stretch of beach, although I understand there was one somewhere to be found. We didn't find it. We did not go to the museum. We did not go to the horse carriage rides, and my time downtown in Charleston was miserable because there's a lot of young kids on scooters and stuff just popping out into traffic. The traffic was stupid. It was 2 lanes, just 2-lane road through that mega metropolis, and you got like transfer trucks carrying big containers for the ships coming through those streets, and just it was just really, really intense. I was nervous as a chihuahua the whole time I was down there. Couldn't enjoy that. So not cool. We did find a cool place for acai bowls, and we had several of those. We went to the first recommendation came from one of my clients here at the store, called Saltwater Cowboys. I saw the appeal of the place. Nancy did not love it. The food was a little bit overpriced, but the view was pretty spectacular. It was just really, really, really hot the first 2 days we were there, and that kind of spoiled that a little bit. So we wound up just going to do that, going to do our timeshare viewing thing, and then heading back and basically just hanging out at the hotel. The hotel breakfast was excellent. We even ate dinner there one night. The next night we went to a place called I think it's just called Crab House, Charleston Crab House or something like that, on Shem Creek. Everything's on Shem Creek there. It seems like everything on the Mount Pleasant side. But it was really good. And I actually had a Dungeness crab that for the first time I went, okay, I see what the deal is with Dungeness crab. Easier to crack, much, much larger chunks of meat, and delicious. So I enjoyed that place. It had a nice pier. We went out onto it. And Delilah had a great time. You know, that's what it's all about for me. If I'm having just a so-so time, but I can see she's having a great time, it's a net win for me. So that was really cool. We go back, we do the pool again that evening, and like I said, she ran into that other kid and ended up playing like for 2 hours. When after, you know, she would have her long days, she was still a little sick with a cold, so she'd be a little bit uppity, and I'd have to correct her and all that, which is never fun, but it really seemed to stress Nancy out, and I hated that. I hated we couldn't have had a weekend to ourselves. But we are having a training weekend coming up where we're staying in my favorite hotel on planet Earth, the Washington Duke Inn. That's coming up later this month. So that'll just be us, and you know, hopefully we'll kind of get a little bit of a break there, even though it is a training course. It's 3 days in a really, really swank hotel. That's what I do, man. You get to be old. That's what you do for fun, stay in cool hotels. But I digress. The week before we went off on this trip was Nancy's birthday. Well, let me rephrase that. The beginning of Nancy's birthday month. Now, Nancy, listen, I make this as a joke. I say this as a joke, but it's actually true. When I buy Nancy a gift, it is a gift for Nancy, okay? Not something I want for me. Anytime Nancy buys anything for us that is, for things like anniversary, seldom is it something like a guitar or a music-related thing. It is, although I did insist my last birthday that she order me a particular chord book that I wanted. Usually it's like, for example, for our anniversary, which was back on the 24th of August. Yeah. She got a really expensive massage chair and went, here's your anniversary present. And then when she did that, I sat in that chair. I said, you know what? I decided right then and there, I've been wanting me a Gretsch guitar. I'm going to buy it. And I did wait until Labor Day because they had a stupid deal on one. And so now it's sitting right over here. It's beautiful. It happens to be a special edition with 3 pickups and just tons of knob positions. It's a recording tool for me. And now I wouldn't have spent a lot on it, but it was, like I said, a stupid deal. And it happens to be kind of a seafoam green color, which just so happens to match almost exactly this old school Line 6 digital loop modeler pedal that I've got. And so I've been playing with that and thinking, man, this was serendipity. This guitar was meant to come here. Look at this pedal, 20 years old, and it matches this almost perfectly. And you just never see this color of guitar. Gretsch is a beautiful guitar design anyway, but this has 2 sound holes, so it's a hollow body, semi-hollow body, I guess you call that. For playing blues leads, has a really, really cool sound. I don't know about the rhythm stuff, but I haven't had much time to tweak with it, but I think we'll get there on that too. So it'll be a really useful recording tool, so I'm extremely chuffed about that. But anyway, the week before, so I mentioned Nancy's birthday, and we did finally manage to get Summer to watch her own kid for a day, and we took Nancy out, and at the end of our big day that we went, well, we did the night before somewhere she wanted to eat, and then the next day we did some stuff, and come to find out, this new restaurant that's opening up in what was formerly called Off the Square in downtown, a really ritzy place in downtown Albemarle, that kind of near the end of their run, they sort of fell off on the quality, but the price never changed. So some new folks bought that and opened it up, and it was kind of part of a soft launch. And we went in there, and it wasn't cheap, but I will say it was excellent. So I had a really, really good steak there. Enjoyed that very much. I just thought down to the dessert was phenomenal. The coffee was really good, S&D coffee. Yeah, I'm hopeful to have some more, great meals there as well. I haven't done our usual thing at Loafers so much lately because we've just been busy with Delilah, having her so much extra. But I tell you what, we will be at Loafers Saturday night because I'm playing there from 7 until 9 with the Harrisonator and potentially Lee as well. Now, I will say over on the 29th, Harrison, myself, and Tony will be doing a trio performance at the Rosebriar, the classic restaurant here in Albemarle. The new ownership is having live music once a month, I think, and they've reached out to us to do that, and I'm extremely excited because that's a big win. It's just really a cool place, and I've said this before. I'm not really an alcohol guy. If my entertainment happens to sell some alcohol, okay, whatever. But that's not my push, and I always look for environments that are just a little bit more. I kind of feel like Loafers is a family restaurant, and even though it has a bar, it's not such a bar scene. But some of the places I'm like, I really prefer it to be like a restaurant where I feel good about having Delilah in there because, I'm not a person that hangs out in bars, and I don't want her to be either. And then sometimes you get people with like the loose language, and I'm like, yo, it's my granddaughter over here. Don't be using bad language, man. That's not, and hey, not for nothing, but grow some class. People don't want to hear that mess. I get around certain buddies, and they curse, and I know that, and so sometimes I'll use curse words to emphasize things, and I realize I always feel like a jerk doing that, and cursing is a foul vice, and him that uses it is no gentleman. I try to be a gentleman, so I'm always working toward that, but it's like Christ's example. We'll never achieve it, but we're trying to work toward it as Christians. So jumping back even before, so we go into the restaurant. That was where I was going with that story. And in walks flipping Will Sutton, who I haven't seen in, man, gosh, maybe 8 years or so. The last time I saw him, I was playing second fiddle to this kid called Brian Lowe, who is a really, really good songwriter. And we were trying to Will and I were trying to run a band. We were practicing out of Will's house at the time, out on, I guess, 49 near Mount Pleasant. And we were making small strides. I'm not a great bass player, but I know my theory. And the unfortunate thing about this circumstance was that Brian, as gifted as he was with coming up with riffs and songs and a pretty good singer and player, he was musically illiterate. So he would say, I got the capo here, and I don't know what this chord is. And I wasn't somebody that was great at transposing chords on the fly. And so it made it really difficult I would have to make my own charts for his songs, and sometimes it'd be wrong. And I remember we played a show at the Milestone, and I didn't think it went very well at all, but he had his crowd there and they loved it. But anyway, that only lasted for 2 or 3 gigs. And then I didn't see Will. He moved off somewhere and played in, I guess, another jazz fusion band or something weird like that. He was telling me this. But anyway, in walks Will. And he goes, dude, I just moved back to Albemarle. Matter of fact, this is my first day back. And I was like, well, you playing with anybody? And he says, no. And I says, do you want to? He says, maybe. So I had him over here yesterday, showed him the place. He's going to come and jam with us. I know his ability, so I wouldn't call it a tryout. I'd just say if he likes what we're doing and he wants to play with us, I told Will, I was like, the barrier for the entry level gate for working with me is wanting to do it and showing up. That's the only two things you actually have to do, because I'm easy. I like to think of my studio as, Secret Studios here. I said, I should have called it the cradle, because that's what it is. It's the cradle of creativity. That's how Harrison and I have been able to turn out such a monumental amount of music in such a short period of time. I mean, in 3 years, Harrison and I have recorded more than Todd and I recorded in 20 years, and that's the truth, and at a much higher level as well. So it's crazy, man, when, like a singularity of purpose and sort of everybody on the same page, so to speak, you can get a lot done, and particularly with the power of modern home recording capabilities, such as it is. I mean, we're literally only separated by what, the studio that we go to in Faith can do by engineering ability and quality of some microphones. That's really about it. Everything else could be done at home, and we've actually started doing a lot of that. Sometimes Harrison will record a guide track or even a keeper track at home and send that in mono format to the studio and actually start building the recordings on that. And you can't tell a difference. I mean, at the end of the day, you cannot tell a difference. So I think we're going to start doing more and more of that. Anything to move it along. Man, Harrison's like my secret weapon, only he's getting to be not so secret. I just say, as much as he wants to play and record, we're going to do that until such time as he doesn't want to do it, because it ain't going to be me that loses enthusiasm. I promise you that, because music is my life. But anyway, so that'd be cool. How cool would that be if Will came back and became part of the band? And, my vision for next year, I've recently shared this with the guys. We've played more acoustic shows this year than I've ever played. Actually, more dates. I'm thinking we may have played a couple of more with Two Spies in a year, but those were 100% free, and most of these this year have been paid, and we're kind of at that same number. I know for a fact that we will obviously 12, because we play every month at Loafers, so that plus maybe the 5 that we've done, and if we do one more, I guess that'll be 5 if we do one more. So there you go, at least 17 gigs this year. So we did a couple free gigs. I think we did 3 or 4 from downtown before I realized that there was just nobody showing up for that and no energy being put into it. If the guys want to do one of those later, we'll do it. If not, I'm just going to cancel those, because the people running it, unfortunately, just did not put any kind of... I mean, the very least I would think is they could come up there, pull the power cable out for us and say, hey guys, thanks for coming down here and playing. Nope. Lady showed up one time that's been emailing me. One time and said, hey, the very first time, because I was playing in the rain by myself. And so since then, I've got zero support. And I'm like, well, again, why are we doing this? And also, you gave us the lowest traffic area. Man, free. I love playing. I'll play a backyard barbecue or a dedication in a mausoleum. I don't care. I love to play. I love to play live. But if you don't get paid, you don't get respected. And it shouldn't be that way, but that's just the way it is. So that said, I believe that Bowers Foreman will be performing at Winterfest for Baden. It's not official. They've been talking to us about it. So we've offered to do it for whatever they can afford. So I imagine that bid would get it. That'll be December the 2nd. I am involved in a kind of a Halloween screening this year called the Baden Boo Fest, which I've been helping plan as well. I'm doing some graphics for it and a t-shirt design. But basically what it's going to be is Halloween night at the Green in Baden on Falls Road. Kids are going to come, play some games, get some prizes, do some costume contests, and I'm going to show the Addams Family on a blow-up screen with my projector. Bought a 12-foot skeleton to hang out there next to the projector. Already got the projector and got a friend going to lend me the sound equipment, and so I'll do a shakeout sort of the week of at my house to make sure everything works. Just got to get that blow-up screen. I'll get that, and we'll be cooking with gas. Now, on the subject of new purchases, I recently started noticing that ginormous 65, 75-inch screen TVs at Walmart had come down to stupid cheap. So for years, we've been talking about trying to have a big screen TV with like a kind of a coffee shop backdrop playing on it in the store downstairs for sort of ambience or ocean waves or whatever. It would change according to the time of year or whatever Nancy wanted to put up. Finally, yesterday, I made that happen with the help of our good buddy, the legendary artist Roger Thomas. I had been planning that for a while, and Roger now doesn't live in this town. He lives in Rockwell, so getting his availability to help us is much less. But so I thought we were going to do this Saturday, and yesterday he goes, well, oh, something happened. So, Becky's gone. I got time. So when can we do it? Can we do it today? I was like, sure. So in my mind, in my naivety, it was like maybe 20 minutes to go get the TV, 20, 30 minutes to put it up. Took 3 hours, 3+ hours, but we got it up. It's on the right kind of stand. We found the studs up there in that wall. This building is built kind of by hand, and it's nothing. It lines up where it's supposed to, but we got it in the studs. It's holding up fine. It's a really nice mount that can tilt, bend, you name it. And it's leveled up, and I'm just so happy about it. It looks and sounds awesome. That'll be something Delilah and I can do with on the days off, watch movies down there and play games and whatnot. So that could not have worked out better. That brings us to why I'm in here at 5:10 a.m. My day started today at 3:38 a.m. Had Delilah last night, and man, I tell you what, it's hard for me to sleep in a bed with 3 people, just like a battery. I like to be cold. I'm big. I like to be cold, and I wasn't cool enough, so I woke up and I thought, you know what? I know Nancy's wanting to get up at 6 and come in here and get ready for her early client she's got, and let me just go ahead and go do this. So I came in because I had to haul off the box from that giant TV that's downstairs. It was massive. We could not find the power cable. I had to make all these phone calls. Turns out it was taped on the inside of the box that just slipped off the whole thing in a bag. So weird, but we finally found it. But I now have to haul off like a literal crap ton of cardboard and burn it at the house, so I'm going to do that. I've already fed most of my chickens. I got 2 chickens left to feed when I get back to the house. But all is well, all is well. I don't have a whole lot of tasks to do today. Once I get Delilah to school, I'll take me a quick nap. Then I'll be working on some design work for the Baden Boo Fest. If you're in the area, come see the Baden Boo Fest. I will, of course, report how that goes because I would kind of like for it to become an annual event that I can take and Delilah to. So we will see. But yeah, everything's going great. I've gotten back on my diet plan pretty strict now. I am strictly keto at this point. I will no longer digest starches and carbs in so much as I can help it. So no bread, things of that nature. No bread or rice. And I'm drinking strictly water except for maybe 1 glass of unsweetened tea a day. So that's where we're at, friends. And also, that sort of draws this episode to a close. Music writing is just coming so amazing. Stylistically, every time we get to the studio, it's miraculous, man. I mean, it went so well. I can't even tell you. So I guess I'll leave you guys with a partial recording of a new song called Providence Road I've been working on. It's going to be so much more than what you hear. This is a rough draft, but this is a podcast nobody listens to, basically just for me and, Delilah, if she ever wants to listen back after I'm gone or whatever. So this is a work in progress. The song is called Providence Road. The idea's been in my head for a while, but Harrison and I just kind of put the song together only like maybe a month ago, and it's already basically recorded. The leads will be worked out more. The harmonies will be better, but the concept is here. So enjoy.